Hey guys, Uncle Stef here. Code long and profit. So I was reading an article on LinkedIn a couple of days ago. It was published on the 10th. And it was talking about it was on TechCrunch, and it was about LinkedIn jumping into the freelance space. And they had a whole bunch of people who signed up, about 100,000, about 1% of the LinkedIn user base had signed up to this freelancing thing. So basically, LinkedIn is jumping in there to compete with Upwork and Fiverr and so on. So why do I bring this up? Well, first of all, in this job market as a developer, techie developer type, whatever specialization you decide to get into, specialization could be full stack developer, mobile app developer, cybersecurity expert, whatever. Whatever specialization you decide to get into, you got to develop your LinkedIn presence. Make sure your LinkedIn profile is up to date. Make sure it's well structured. You got good photography up there. You make good connections. A big part about being successful in the world is having good relationships, good interpersonal skills. We are apes after all, right? And the reason humans succeed, well, A, because we are smart, but B, because we create relationships. And we form companies, and we form bonds, and together in groups, in companies, having strong relationships with others is how you succeed. Your network of friends and your network of colleagues are very, very important in terms of your success or failure in all aspects of life. So yeah, build up your LinkedIn profile, develop connections, start creating a track record for yourself that will make you a far more valuable individual in the marketplace. As I pointed out in the article, about 100,000 people have been fired from the tech space this year, 2024. And I've talked about this, but in brief, it's because during the COVID period, they overhired. The tech companies overhired, and they hired, when they were overhiring in this frenzy, as is typical, I've seen this happen a few times, they hired a bunch of people that they didn't really need. They hired a bunch of people that were underqualified, and they hired a bunch of people for projects that went nowhere. I've seen it firsthand. I know people have big businesses that they hired a bunch and they tried this, didn't work, so they fired them all. So now there's uncertainty in the air. So there is the natural correction now. Correction is a fancy way of saying they're firing a bunch of people, cutting costs, until the next big cycle. So things go like this in the economy. Big hiring cycle, big laying off cycle, big hiring cycle. So we're in the down slope right now. It's normal. Try not to freak out about it. Now, if you need that paycheck, if you're worried about if you're going to run out of money in 30 days or 2 months, then you're going to be worried. But if you had listened to Uncle Stef, you would be sitting pretty right now. So what did I tell you? 10 years ago, 15 years ago on YouTube. I talked about the FU money. This is emergency money. This is something you must have. You must have emergency money. Meaning, you don't have emergency money, what are you going to do? Right? You're going to be in a bad situation. When I got together my emergency money, which is about 6 months to a year minimum of cash, it covers all my expenses, you become footloose and fancy free. You become totally independent of the system. Not totally independent. You're independent of the system for 6 to 12 months. Now, ultimately, for me, especially if you're in the freelance space, which I recommend, I did it for years. If you're in the freelance space or you have the freelance mindset, you would have at least a year to 2 years of cash on hand, so you don't have to worry about getting gigs, getting contracts. When you have a couple years worth of cash on hand to cover all your expenses, you're like, you can negotiate better. Life's pretty easy. You're not so worried about things. That's the key, man. That's the key. So LinkedIn, jumping into it, they're just diversifying their market share, which is fine. You as a professional should be diversifying your range of contacts in your network. Always be networking, always making contacts, always looking to provide a service for others, looking for side gigs, side hustles, especially when you're younger. When you're younger, you're full of energy. Now is the time to work extra hard and to get smarter, to get more valuable, become more competent. Get out there, do things, build things. So if you got a main job, do side gigs, whether it be consulting or little side contracts, writing code, building people's websites, whatever it is. Keep building. Now, needless to say, get rid of all your debt, no credit card debt, have your emergency fund, and then start investing into all the tax-free and tax-deferred vehicles that you can get yourself into. I'm not talking about vehicles that you drive. I'm talking about financial vehicles. An advisor can help you with that. I think for 2025, the freelance space is going to become even more important. It's a growing trend. The COVID lockdowns, the pandemic lockdowns did spur this on. I think this was happening where people were discovering what I discovered in the 90s, the value of being on your own, the value of that independence. Like, I remember talking to some friends of mine who worked at big corporations, and they would have to go to work every day and wear had a certain dress code and so forth. Like, oh my God, the dress code is the least of it. It's just having to go in every day. But there's advantages to that as well, right? When you're freelancing, for most people, the first year or two is pretty shaky stuff. It's hard to get your first gigs. You got to learn the craft. You got to learn the game. You got to learn how to negotiate properly, how to manage projects properly. Like any other business, like anything else, it takes a few years to get into it, you know? Whereas when you get a job, everything is there, right? You get the job, you got the workflows, they tell you what you're going to do. You don't have to worry about being paid. It's quite easy in comparison. It's quite easy in comparison to starting a freelance job or a business or starting any SaaS business especially. But on the flip side, once you've well established in the SaaS game or in the freelance game, things are a lot, you have total control. You decide when to work, with whom you're going to work, the type of projects you're going to work on, what technologies you're going to work with. Now, I am, if you know me, technology agnostic. I'm neutral. Whether it be JavaScript or Java or C# or PHP, I don't care. The only exception is Ruby. But besides Ruby, everything else, whatever, just whatever the job demands, go with that. It's fine. It's there to make money. I have found in my own career as a freelancer, I would work on the weirdest technologies sometimes. Like I did a job for big pharma back in the day. I was a contracted outside consultant. And I wrote the software for an e-learning application for medical doctors for one of the big pharmas. And I was using something really weird I never used before, and I will never use again. But it worked, did the job. I looked at the project. I said, this is the requirements, bing, bing, bing. And I looked at what Java could do for me, whatever the other language could I C++ at the time and blah, blah. I looked at what was available at the time. I forget my choices. Java was one of my choices. But I ended up using something else. And it was just like, all right, was it perfect? No. But it was the best for that job. So I am agnostic and neutral with all these technologies. Whatever works. So back to being a freelancer, you're going to have your favorite, of course, in the beginning. What's going to happen as you become more advanced as a developer, you're going to become probably like me, where you're going to go, whatever. We'll do this in Java, we'll do it in Java. We're going to do this in Node.js with Express on the front end. With Express for the full stack, sure. We're going to use React, okay, whatever. We're going to use Vue, Angular, whatever. whatever it is. Now you can have your favorites and so forth, but later on you get more and more agnostic about it. You're like, well, whatever, it's all there, it's all code, whatever, no big deal. So yeah, the whole LinkedIn thing is interesting. They're jumping into the freelance space. Obviously, they see that there's a potential there to diversify, learn the lesson from LinkedIn, diversify your income streams, diversify your professional network. Always good to know people. At the end of the day, a company is a company of people. Companies hire other people. One of the best ways to get a job as a developer is to have contacts in the business where you want to get hired. 100%. A lot of times the hiring managers will say, hey, Jimmy or Annie, do you know anybody who could fill this position? And Jimmy goes, yeah, I know this guy. It's Cousin Stef. Cousin Stef could do this. And so they'll call you before looking at all those resumes because they know you. You're a known quantity because you know somebody. So get involved with developer communities, build up your LinkedIn profile. Be useful too. Try to be useful. At the end of the day, when you're out there, whether you're a software developer, an accountant, or a lawyer, whatever you happen to be doing for work, working at a coffee shop, you are there to provide a service. Be helpful. The more helpful you are, the more you look at the world as, how can I make other people's lives around me easier? The more successful you will be. I think it's in religion where I think it could be Christianity or Judaism, or it could be Islam. But one of the major religions, they say, what you give out, you get back tenfold. I'm not a religious person, but I have to tell you from personal experience, that's 100% true. When I started in the late 90s, just giving out training to people and helping people, it just, all kinds of business started happening as a result. People would ask, hey, Stef, can you help me with this? Our company is working on this. What do you think? Oh, yeah, here, bing, 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 bing. Here, bing, bing. I didn't expect anything. I was being consulted with, whatever, just, no problem. Some people come to me, Stef, how do I learn to build web apps? What do I do? Okay, let me put together a quick little document, put it out. I'll put it out as an article. Boom. And it sort of started this whole thing, what I do now. Yeah, be useful, go out there, help people out, make yourself more valuable as an individual. That's the best investment. People are looking for investments. Invest in yourself. That's the best investments. Anyway, that's it for now. I'm Uncle Stef. I mentor people in the ways of software development, coding, freelancing, business development, and a lot more really. Everything I teach, by the way, is based on my personal experience in my life. I teach from all my mistakes, some of my successes. Everything is based on reality. So I can tell you, without a doubt, what I talk about, what I teach about is from authority and experience. I don't get into areas where I don't have experience in. Like, I'm not going to talk about running a coffee shop. It's not something I've done. I'm not going to talk about heart surgery. It's not something I do. But I talk about all those things I've done personally. Anyway, that's it. I mentor people at UncleStef.com. You can check that out. I also have solo courses. If you want to up your game overall in terms of everything, you should check out Lizard Wizard. Unless you're a student of Kahneman, Cialdini, and Crimmins, if you've done those, then you don't need my stuff. Well, my stuff will still help a little bit. Links below. Lizard Wizard. That will help you. And I also have my coding courses and my mentoring program. That's it. If you have any comments or questions about what I've discussed in this video, put them in the links below. If you like my hat, give me a thumbs up. If you don't like my hat, give me 2 thumbs down. And that's it. Cheers. Oh, sorry. Code long and profit.